wins its first ever ACC championship.
Next on ACC Live, Miami wins and wins the respect of the entire ACC. But did the Canes get enough respect from the NCAA selection committee? Duke gets a 2 seed, but the road is tough. Roy Williams could see a familiar foe, and the Wolfpack has seen the bracket and spotted the Owls. Plus, JR Reid talks about why Virginia and Maryland did not get in and whether that was a mistake and an insult to the ACC. ACC Live starts now. We were there with the Miami Hurricanes last night when they found out they were the number 2 seeds in the East Regional. The team fired up to see their name pop up on television. Will we be excited to see the Canes in Atlanta for the Final Four? Welcome to ACC Live. I'm Jeff Fischel. He's JR Reid. We have spent the last 4 days in Greensboro. JR, it was a fantastic 4 days. Now there are 68 teams in, but only 4 from the ACC.
That's a little disappointing for me, Jeff. I thought for sure the 1 and the 2, Miami would have got a number 1 seed. Duke would have maybe gotten a chance for a number 1 seed, but not to get another ACC team in. It's a little disappointing.
We will take a look at the top of the bracket. We will take a look at the teams that got left out. That's all coming up. Here are the matchups for the 4 ACC teams. All 4 ACC teams play Friday, and if they win, Sunday. Miami gets the Big West champ, Pacific, in Austin, Texas. NC State takes on Temple in Dayton. Carolina and Villanova meet up in Kansas City. Duke loves playing in the Northeast. The Blue Devils will be in Philly to take on Albany. As for the ACC champs, after some celebrating, they are ready to get back to work.
Well, it was very exciting. You know, I think our guys all knew we were going to make the field, but we didn't know what we would be seeded or who we would play. Now our job is to get ready to play Pacific in Austin, Texas on Friday. My staff will do what they always do. They'll be very, very diligent in preparing all the information we need to share with our team so we can prepare them mentally.
It feels good. I mean, it's just a testament to our hard work and everything we've done, not only this season but in the offseason to kind of help us to get to this point. And all the different contributions we've had from so many different guys as well with our coaching staff and just the support of our friends and our family has meant a lot for us.
You can admit it, though. Are you a little disappointed the regular season and tournament champs don't get a 1 seed?
No, it's okay. I mean, we want to go out and have an opportunity just to play basketball. I mean, we're in a great region, and there's a lot of great teams in there, and our first challenge is Pacific right now, so we're not really worried about the selection anymore. Now it's time to focus on the games.
All right, JR. Julian says he doesn't care. Coach L says he's not worrying about whether they're a 1 or 2 seed. What do you think, really?
I'm going to say it for Julian Gamble and Coach Larinaga. They deserve to be a number 1 seed. They've done it for the entire year. They didn't get much love on rankings. It took a while for them to get them in there, but they're a very good team.
The Canes are the first ACC team ever to win the regular season and tournament titles and not get a 1 seed. Miami had a better RPI than Indiana and Gonzaga, a better strength of schedule, a better record against the top 50 RPI. If the committee is going to say that's what we are looking at, then Miami had a better resume than either of these teams. It seems like the Canes were punished for losses to Wake Forest and Georgia Tech late in the season.
Right, they had some early non-conference loss early.
To Florida Gulf Coast. But Florida Gulf Coast made the tournament.
And they didn't get back, and they should have been given more love. Miami's a quality team.
And again, even the teams, Wake Forest and Georgia Tech, they're better than a lot of the teams Gonzaga feasted on in the West Coast Conference. Now, Ken Pom and Sagarin have Miami lower in their rankings, but the NCAA hasn't really said they're using those stats yet, you know? So it's a little bit of a puzzle right now.
I want to know what they're using and what are they basing this on.
So we are asking you, should Miami be a 1 seed? Tweet us at the ACCDN. We are already getting some responses in from you. And I tell you what, it must be the Canes fans coming out because they are all adamant. They have a few bad losses, but won an incredibly tough league in tourney. Definitely deserve over Gonzaga. And then again, we're getting more tweets. This is from Maryland. Yes, 100 times yes. I guess Miami deserves a 1 seed in the eyes of our fans here on ACC Live. Thank you for tweeting us. If you have not yet, jump on in. Plus, JR and I, we're very good about responding to tweets directly. He's at JR Reid 7. I am at Jeff Fischel. Here is Miami's bracket. If you don't know anything about Pacific, they are incredibly well coached. Bob Thompson has been there for 25 years, 6 regular season titles, 4 Big West tourney titles. He is retiring after the tournament. so you know his team will be fired up trying to send him off with a huge upset. Miami would get Illinois or Colorado in the second round. Marquette's the 3 seed. They play big boy basketball in the Big East, that's for sure.
Yes, they do. Miami's got the work cut out for them, but they have a good opportunity. Pacific shouldn't give them too many problems inside, kind of weak on the interior. But like you said, getting a chance eventually to get up with Marquette, that would be a very good matchup.
And even that's a big if, because the 6th seed is Butler, and Butler doesn't sneak up on anyone anymore. Everyone knows to watch out for Butler and Brad Stevens. The Canes could go to battle if they get through that bottom half of the East Regional with Indiana battling for a spot in the Final Four. JR, we were sitting there courtside in Greensboro. It's clear all weekend when you watch the Miami Hurricanes and you go against the Miami Hurricanes, Shane Larkin makes them go.
Shane Larkin was phenomenal in the ACC tournament. Had a stupendous year in the ACC regular season, but in the tournament he turned it up. Coach gave him the ball, and he made plays happen. You'll see this part of the year, coaches are going to go to their go-to players. They're going to get more shots. They're going to get more minutes. They're going to shorten rotations and make sure that those valuable players get the shots that they need.
He had a career-high 28 yesterday in the win over North Carolina, earning MVP of the tournament. And it was an interesting move by Jim Larrañaga. He went with 4 guards yesterday to match up with North Carolina's small ball. He's going to need more help from the bigs, though, to get to Atlanta in the Final Four.
Yes, Jeff. Reggie Johnson didn't have a very good tournament. Kenny Kaji struggled from the perimeter as well. Good thing Julian Gamble came and was solid for him. But for Miami to be successful, the big guys have to bring their A game. And I think a lot of this, too, Jeff, came from the teams in the ACC are used to them. They're used to their offensive sets. I think now once they get out into the NCC tournament and some other teams that haven't seen them as regularly as the teams here, they'll be much better off.
Like I said, Miami could collide with Indiana in the Elite Eight, so let's take a look at that half of the bracket. NC State fans are saying, hey, don't forget about us. The Wolfpack could meet up with the Hoosiers in the round of 32. Syracuse, a future ACC member, also there, the 4 seed. You know, it looked like the Orange were going to win the Big East title, up 16 in the second half against Louisville. Then they got pounded. So it's hard to know exactly how that team will be heading into the tournament mentally. JR, let's take a look at the Wolfpack 8-9 game. That's always a toss-up. Heading into the tournament, who's the key in your mind for Mark Gottfried's team?
Well, Mark Gottfried has to have Low Brown in mind. Low Brown is the guy that makes this all work. He's got to get the ball into Richard Howell's hands in the paint. Get into Scott Wood, let him get his touches. But most importantly, keep C.J. Leslie happy. Keep him engaged in the game because he's a very, very good player when they're going to him like he was early in NC State game in the tournament. But at times in the game, he'll get away defensively. But that's just not his fault. NC State at times to have mental lapses on the defensive end, and that's where they're going to have to make improvements to be successful.
For you ACC fans who haven't followed A10 Hoops, the guy to watch out for Temple, Khalif Wyatt is fantastic.
Tough Philly guard, hard-nosed, 20 points a game, Atlantic 10 Coast Player of the Year.
By the way, when we talk about NC State shocking the world and making a run, if you missed Survive and Advance last night on ESPN, it was fantastic. It was must-see. It was about Jim Valvano and the 83 team making a run to the NCAA tournament. I spoke to Derek Wittenberg about it in Greensboro. He was the executive producer. He was very proud of it, and after seeing it last night, I can see why it was fantastic. You'll be crying by the end of it like a baby. It was truly a phenomenal show, and check it out if you can find it. NC State is an 8 seed. So is Carolina. The Tar Heels are 24-10. Their only losses since the new year, 1 to Virginia, once to NC State, twice to Duke, 3 times to Miami. With the smaller lineup, they've really played like a 3, 4, maybe 5 seed.
They played well, especially since Coach Williams has made the change in the lineup and gone to a smaller lineup with P.J. Hairston at the 4, giving teams a lot of problems, and they've been able to rebound out of it pretty successfully. But for the Tar Heels to win, they've got to continue to knock down the 3 ball because they are a perimeter-heavy team. That's what they like to do, penetrate and kick. But I would like to see them get the ball, especially Dexter Strickland, put the ball down, create some contact, and try to get to the free throw line because that's where Carolina is lacking this year. They're not getting as many free throw attempts as usual.
Villanova has had some big wins this year. If Carolina does win, it will be a big win for Roy Williams, number 700 in his career. And then, barring a shocker, he'd face his old school Kansas. Oh, the committee members, they enjoyed doing that, don't they?
He can't seem to shake Kansas in the NCAA tournament. They give them every year.
But I'll tell you what, Roy did not hold back criticizing the committee for how they treated the ACC. Quote, I am somewhat surprised and disappointed that only 4 ACC teams are in the field and that the league only received 2 number 2s and 2 number 8 seeds. I think the ACC deserved better than that. So Roy clearly thought Maryland or perhaps Virginia deserved to be in as an at-large, and reading between the lines, he felt like Miami deserved to be a 1 seed.
I'm going to applaud Roy on now for stepping up for the ACC. He's saying what a lot of people were scared to say, and we've got so many good quality teams here, but I think at least Maryland should have had an opportunity to get in.
We'll look more closely at the case for Maryland and Virginia coming up in a couple of minutes. The last of the ACC teams that are in, Duke, the Blue Devils are the 2 seed in the Midwest, JR. I can't tell you how many times I've heard in the past 18 hours the Midwest is a region that's loaded.
It really is. It's a tough conference, but for Duke, it's a tough seed, but Duke at number 2 is going to have to come out and do a better job.
Just that half of the draw right there. Creighton, Cincinnati, that's who Duke would see next. Creighton, a fantastic mid-major team. Cincinnati is as tough as any team. It's really a lot like actually Michigan State. Very physical, hit the glass. Michigan State and Duke possibly in the Sweet 16.
That'd be great, but that Creighton would be great. Creighton matchup would be great as well. The best shooting team in the country.
McDermott's fantastic. Duke, of course, lost out on a number 1 seed by losing to Maryland in the ACC quarters. JR, the Terps played the best 40 minutes of basketball they played all season. What lesson should Duke take from that loss?
I think Duke from this loss, if you can take anything positive, is that they're going to get back, look at some film, and realize what went wrong in the tournament. And for me, it was defensive transition. They did not get back. Des Wells, you're seeing here, is able to get to the rim at will. And they have to do a better job of getting back defensively because Duke is not terribly athletic. So they have to do a good job getting back on defense, giving up easy buckets.
Maybe it's a blessing that Seth Curry didn't have to play game after game after game. We know he's really not been able to practice much with the leg injury. So some rest may not be the worst thing at all for this team, but of course you know they wanted to be there Sunday and playing for a 1 seed.
Absolutely.
So we've looked at all 4 ACC teams in the NCAA tournament. How far will each team go? JR makes his predictions coming up on ACC Live.
Out with the old and in with the delicious. Commit to bold taste with the new Flavor Resolutions menu at Ruby Tuesday. 10 entrees starting at $9.99. Try our savory barbecue brushed ribs and bacon wrapped shrimp. Or take it up a notch by adding coconut crusted shrimp to our mango salsa topped Caribbean chicken. Plus, enjoy our endless garden bar, free with any chef inspired entree. Ruby Tuesday. It's all good here. Start the new year with savings. Visit rubytuesday.com today for a $5 coupon.
What's better, bigger or smaller?
Bigger!
So which would you rather have, a big treehouse or a small treehouse?
If it's big enough, you can have a disco. Oh, yeah.
Why do you not want a smaller treehouse?
Because it wouldn't be able to fit a flat screen TV, and then the TV would be about this big, and you would have to hold the wire. In the position you would hold the wire, you wouldn't be able to see the TV.
That's a pain in the buns.
Yep. Yeah.
It's not complicated. Bigger is better, and AT&T has the nation's largest 4G network.
The ACC Digital Network, the ultimate video destination for ACC fans. Exclusive highlights, live streaming games, and original live programming, unique access to the student athletes of our time and the legendary voices of all time. Defining moments, personal stories, incredible analysis from authentic ACC sources, cutting-edge content from the leaders in the digital space. The ACC Digital Network, brought to you by Ruby Tuesday.
Good afternoon, Chase Sapphire. This is Stacy from Springfield.
Oh,
Hello?
yes, I didn't realize you'd be talking to an actual person.
You don't need to press 0. I'm here.
Reach a person, not a prompt, whenever you call Chase Sapphire.
This Dunk of the Day brought to you by Ruby Tuesday.
I mean, these guys are giving it all, just leaving it out here today. Markin back to Gamble. Boy, he has come up huge. Look at this. Gamble just getting there in case for offensive rebounding position, and he has his hands ready for the catch. And you wonder why Shane Larkin is a Bob Cousy Award finalist.
Start the new year with savings. Visit rubytuesday.com to get $5 off 2 entrees.
Welcome back to ACC Live. I'm Jeff Fischel with JR Reid. You just saw Julian Gamble there, part of the Canes' run to an ACC tournament title. More NCAA hoops coming up. Let's do other stories from around the conference. This is the ACC Now. Tonight at 7, the women's bracket comes out. Is Duke a number 1 seed? Even after Chelsea Gray went down with a knee injury, the Blue Devils kept winning. Maryland, North Carolina, Florida State, and Miami are also expected to make the field. The Final Four this year is in New Orleans. Virginia is a 1 seed in the NIT. The Cavaliers get a home game tomorrow night against Norfolk State. Maryland's a 2 seed. The Terps also at home tomorrow against Niagara. Can they keep the momentum going? Florida State opens at home against Louisiana Tech. It's Michael Snare's last postseason run. Maryland and Florida State tip off 7 p.m. hour tomorrow night. Then at 9, it's Norfolk State and Virginia. Maryland and Virginia could meet in the semis. Florida State's on the other half of the bracket. The NIT Final Four, of course, is at Madison Square Garden. And that is the ACC now. Okay, JR, I just talked about Virginia and Maryland. They were bubble teams. Let's make the case for each of them. First, Virginia.
Well, Virginia was hurt by some non-conference losses early in the year to ODU, George Mason. The strength of schedule is not very good. But then I'm going to jump to Maryland. Maryland beating Duke twice this year, beating NC State, had a better schedule. I think Maryland should have been the team that got an opportunity to go and be dancing right now. We should have had another team from the conference.
I'll throw out some numbers for both these schools. I'm sure the case they would make as well. Virginia, 6 wins against top 50 RPI teams. And again, those early losses when Jontel Evans wasn't in the lineup,
True.
right? And that should matter,
True.
right?
Yes, you're right, and it should. And I know they're not the same team with him on the court.
And then Maryland, meanwhile, you beat Duke 2 out of 3 times. You tell me some of those bubble teams that got in are going to beat Duke 2 out of 3 times?
You're right. They probably won't. But Maryland had his chances to solidify his NCAA chances by winning, in the regular season. They did not, and they put themselves in this hole, and this is where we are.
If ACC had gotten 5 teams in, which would have been your pick, Virginia or Maryland?
I would have gone with Maryland. I like Maryland. They're a sexier pick. They're a better team. I like Alex Lynn in the paint. They deserved it.
Well, hopefully one of them wins the NIT and they prove the selection committee wrong, right? One more look at the 4 ACC teams in the NCAA tournament. There you see it. Miami and Duke, both 2 seeds, and for Duke, it's an 18th straight appearance in the NCAA tournament. Coach K is always there. NC State and North Carolina, 8 seeds. Of course, we've talked about the Tar Heels potentially meeting up with Kansas in the second round. The last time North Carolina was an 8 seed, yes, they did make it to the Final Four. So that could be a key for them. All right, JR, let's break this down a little bit. Who is your player to watch in the tournament?
Oh, this is easy, Jeff. I'm going with Shane Larkin, ACC Tournament player of the tournament. He's been a phenomenal player, shooting the ball at a high rate right now, getting to the hole at will, and also finding his teammates. So he's got a triple threat going right now.
Can I tell you what I loved? And Drew Barry and I were talking about it during the game yesterday. He would get in the lane. No one could guard him one-on-one. And he was doing a great job of kicking it out, finding a guy who had an open 3. And, of course, Trey McKinney-Jones and Durant Scott. They were both having great games. So it was a perfect – I mean, Shane Larkin was just fantastic this weekend. All right, so that's the player to watch. What's the matchup to watch?
Oh, I'm looking for Michigan State and Duke. Tom Izzo against Coach K, 2 very well-coached teams with teams that can really get it done, physical, smart teams. That could potentially be a very nice game.
I'd argue Duke has the best starting 5 in the country, but Michigan State's the kind of team that could give them problems.
Always. They always get better late in the year. You know they're going to have strong defense. They're going to be tough-minded team. You never want to face teams like that in the tournament.
So who has the toughest road, perhaps?
Easily NC State. They've got a tough matchup against Temple, who is a hard-nosed team. Coach Dumpy's going to have them coming out with a physical style of play, lower-paced game, which might be tough for NC State. And then also, they might have to come out and play IU. So there's not a very good seed. They're not looking good for State right now.
I would give them major props if they make it through that first meet. If they can get to the Sweet 16, bravo to Mark Gottfried and company. All right, best chance any ACC team to make it to Atlanta, make it to the Final Four.
Again, I'm going to have to go with Miami. Miami's got a good road to get to the Final Four, and they have senior players. They've got leadership. They've got bigs, and Shane Larkin playing right now with the best point guards in the country. So when you've got your point guard playing at a high level, and not only is he scoring well, Jeff, but he's defending. Great on-ball defender. He can lock down your point guard. Got to love their chances.
All right, we've given it to you all season long, breaking it down every team for you, the highlights, the must-see moments. Follow us all week here on the ACC Digital Network. We will be your best source for looking ahead to the ACC teams headed into the postseason tournament. For JR Reid, I'm Jeff Fischel. We want to thank the entire ACC Digital Network team for hustling their butts off the last 4 days in Greensboro. It made our jobs that much easier, and we had a ton of fun. Thanks for watching the ACC Digital Network and watching ACC Live.